We heard in breaking news from the president just a few minutes ago, really, at the White House, saying he has a new warning for Mexico. Basically, hey, you have a year to get your act together with regard to the border. Otherwise, tariffs are coming. And if that doesn't work, then the border is closing down. From the State Department, Policy Planning Director, Senior Policy Advisor Kiron Skinner is our guest now. And thank you for coming on with us. And maybe we start there because it literally just happened. So this is now on the table for Mexico. I guess this is kind of modifying a position. Is that fair? We had heard from the president earlier he was going to close the border. Now he's adding this threat of tariffs.
I think what we're seeing is the U.S. president play a leading role in the international system, one that the United States has needed to play in the 21st century, but always hasn't, on the issue of the southern border, along with other issues like NATO, which is also happening right now. We're looking at ineffective governments that are not taking up their responsibility to their own citizens, and they're arriving at our border wanting entry, and the president is saying this is a security threat to the U.S. We've got to take strong action, and I think he's trying to give Mexico time to make some tough decisions. As you know, he recently defunded the Northern Triangle countries because they, too, haven't used foreign aid to objectives that protect their own citizens and advance their society. So the U.S. has to do something decisive. Right. I think the president was using that language to help kind of push the partners to our south to think about their options in a way perhaps that they would not think about in the absence of him kind of laying out how he sees the state of play.
What's the role of your boss, Mike Pompeo, in the State Department in all of this? You alluded to foreign aid. Is there more of that to come, possibly? Is that another? The president goes back again and again, and did today, to the threat of tariffs. So what about more threats of cuts to foreign aid? Is that also something that's on the table?
I think we're looking at all alternatives, but the foreign aid discussion around the Northern Triangle is a recent decision that the State Department was deeply involved with and will be central to executing. And it really is a signal that our foreign assistance is important for the United States. It's not something that we just do because we've been on autopilot with it. We want to see results, and those results will be rewarded or not based on the performance of countries. And so that decision really speaks to the president's agenda and links up the State Department with the White House, I think, in a very important way.
Yeah, we've seen that in some ways with some of, as you know, the European countries and the whole discussion around NATO, which you referenced a moment ago. And Jens Stoltenberg, the Secretary General of NATO, met with the president, made the big speech in front of the Congress, I believe, is meeting with Secretary Pompeo. What's the takeaway from his trip this week in terms of what this administration has been able to accomplish and the changes that have been put in place in how the U.S. interacts with NATO? What's been accomplished?
I think that's an excellent question in the context of what's happening on the American southern border, because it was a remarkable moment in the U.S. Congress to have the NATO Secretary General talk about the improvements in NATO, in part due to the American president underscoring for the NATO countries the importance of increased defense spending. That kind of continual discussion by the American president, much like his press conference just moments ago on the southern border, helped our NATO countries look at their own budgets, make commitments, $41 billion in additional NATO spending from European and countries and Canada in the past 2 years, with more to come. I think it has a result when the United States, the predominant power on earth, acts in a way as a responsible international partner, helping all of our allies and those who seek to oppose us or who won't take care of their own countries. When they see that we're willing to talk to them in unvarnished ways, I think we get better results. NATO is stronger today than it's been in years. At year 70, more commitment to collective security and defense, and a better understanding of our challenges, including on the eastern flank of NATO, which we're talking a lot about with our NATO partners this week.
Kiron, thank you very much for that and for commenting on the breaking news over at the White House. Kiron Skinner with us from the State Department today.